So what I have found to be easiest is when you are painting a full piece on a model, that if you hold your water cup, your product, and your towel in one hand, you can easily go back and forth between those items while standing there, and you don't have to go to your table and bend down, and it really saves your back and some time. And in this case, it is important to save time because these pieces on the body can usually be very time consuming. I will say this one in particular, because of the blending and because of filming and having to be aware of where I was standing, it took about 5 hours. Now, it wouldn't normally take me that long, but like I said, being aware of how it was being filmed and making sure that you could see the whole process took a bit longer. But yes, these pieces can take a lot of time, and you want to make sure that your model's comfortable, that they're hydrated, that they get what they need, and that way it ensures you have a really good paint session. So as you can see, I started off with white paint and outlined the deer's face. I wanted to make sure the head was placed properly with the ears so that when she raises her arms that the antlers will be connected to it and it won't look off proportion. Then with several sponges and a skin color palette, I marked in the dark colors and light colors of the face. Wherever you have the dark color, that will create more depth. Wherever you have a light color, that will create more highlight. And in this case, highlight is very important. You want the lighter areas to be the brow bones, the forehead, and the center of the nose, because it will create more of a 3D effect versus just looking too flat. Now, I should also mention I am using a picture of a reindeer that I found, and I'm trying to follow its face shape the best I can, and its coloring as well. So if that helps, which it always helps me, find a picture that you like and just basically try to copy it. Okay, another major piece of advice. When it comes to doing large scale pieces like this, whether you're using brushes, sponges, airbrush, doesn't matter. The key is blending. Blending is so important. If that is something that you find yourself struggling with, I would highly suggest you try to get that down before attempting pieces like this, otherwise you will just end up very frustrated. Trust me, I was not good at blending when I first started. It took some practice, but that is going to be the thing that really brings your pieces together, is seeing when two colors meet, they just smoothly blend into each other. And the best way that I can help you with that is take your first color and lay it down with your sponge, and then take your second color and lay it just slightly over that first color with a tiny bit of water in between. You'll know if you use too much water right away, it'll start running, the paint will come off, it'll look weird. But you basically take the two colors and just go back and forth and alternate between the two with water until they start blending. Eventually they will meld into each other, and then you will have what's called a gradient when it goes from darkest to lightest or light to dark, and that goes for any color. If you have a dark purple and a white, you can create a medium lilac color in between just by blending the seams. Now, the reason why I am stressing to have this technique down so much is because it is applied on every bit of this piece. When it comes to the deer's face, the eye color itself, which is a mix of black, red, and yellow, the collar, the bells on the collar, which is orange, yellow, white, and then the red collar itself, plus the antlers, the whole thing is blended, and that is why it looks three-dimensional and not flat, like we talked about earlier. Don't forget that black eyeshadow can also be your best friend when it comes to blending. It goes on very lightly and gives you the opportunity to build it versus taking black paint and putting it directly on top of the color that you want it to blend, and that will save you some more time too. Moving on to the back of the model's arms, this was a bit trickier because you have to draw in the antlers in a way where you can visualize where the hands are going to be and where the elbows are going to bend. Keep that in mind while you draw the spikes. You don't want to draw it to where it's in the crease of your arm, because when she bends her arm, it's just going to disappear. So you want to make sure that the points are in the right place. Also, be aware of the arm placement when you go to take the final picture. If the hands and arms are up too straight, then they're just gonna look like weird pointy sticks. And then if they're down too far, the antlers will look droopy. So just make sure you check the position of that before you go to take pictures. For finishing up the antlers, the blending technique once again comes into play. You're going from darkest to lightest because that's typically what the deer's antlers look like. So I'm just following that pattern as well. Antlers are typically symmetrical, so remember how many points you have on one side and try to replicate them on the other side the best you can. Now for my favorite part, the illusion. What you're going to do is outline the entire thing with black. Deep, deep black. You might have to go over it a couple times so there's no streaks. The point is you want everything that's black to disappear in the photo. So that's why you're going to take it all the way up to the back of her neck, on the sides, and around the deer's shoulders. For the eyelashes, I initially painted them black to help me visualize where they were at, but I knew that the black was going to be up against them and you still want to be able to see them. So make sure you go over them with white so that they pop. And the quickest way to fill in all this black, if you're not using an airbrush in this case, is to outline the entire deer or whatever it is that you're painting and then use a sponge to completely fill in the rest. Throwing on some final white highlights and a black beanie to disguise the hair, and your reindeer is ready to go. Alright, here is our final body paint reindeer look. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. You can find me at Bengal Queen on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.